Hey guys, Rich here, this is Brickset. Hey look, we're late to the party on this one, but today we're going to be looking at this. The ill-fated, if you like, Lego Technic Bell Boeing V22 Osprey. So look, first of all, I want to say a big thanks to a friend of ours, Anthony Bradley, who sorted this out for me. Hey, thank you very much, sir. I really do appreciate it. The story goes is that we actually had one of these in hand, or we had a couple of them in hand actually, at a store here in Auckland in New Zealand, right about the time they put out the recall on them. So basically got them to the till. They said, no, we can't sell them to you. We couldn't get our hands on one. By the time Lego then said, let the stock go, they were gone. We couldn't get our hands on one. So Anthony, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. He sorted this for me. Yes. Now, we know the problems of the whole cancellation thing on this. I'm not going to go into it. It's been well documented, well covered. Long story short, if you don't know, someone raised, or apparently somebody got their backs up regarding it being a military vehicle. Which yes it is. If you go onto their website, yes it is a military vehicle in all respects, but they've put it in a search and rescue, guys. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. Look, anyway, what we're going to do is we are going to open it, we're going to unbox it, we're going to build it, then we're going to do a review on it, but we're also going to have a look at its major flaw. Again, being late to the party, we're lucky enough that there's been a major flaw with this model, and there has been a fix. So I'm going to do the fix while I'm building it, but then we're going to discuss it at the end. Alright, so let's unbox this thing. Have a look at the box first. Obviously you've got the Boeing logo there, the Bell officially licensed product. Logos down there on the bottom. You've got the motorized functions logo there as well. Batteries not included, of course. On the back you have got a picture of the real thing, and then you've got some illustrations there of what the power functions do, as well as a view, so looking from the rear quarter there, of the model itself. So let's open it up and we will have a look at what's inside. Alrighty, so let's open this thing up. What do we got? We have an instruction manual with quite a large looking sticker sheet on there. I guess they're sort of quite necessary. They all sort of have logos. There's some panel pieces on there as well with rivets and bits like that, so they may not be necessary, but we'll have a look at those as we go along anyway. Decent size book. I'm assuming, yes, that's the power functions box with all that sort of stuff. So what have we got? Extra bag with the propeller pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bags all up, but it looks like you're doing it in 4 stages because we've got numbers 1 to 4 there. So look, let's get into the build. We'll build it up quickly, then we'll get into the review. Okay, so let's get into the final model. Now, it's a good looking model. It's a good size. It's actually quite big. It's really well put together. It's really sturdy. There's no real flimsy parts on it at all, even, you know, despite its size and what it's got going on. The color scheme, I'm happy with the color scheme. That dark gray, the light gray, and the bright orange there. You know, it looks like a rescue vehicle. There's not too many gaps along the panels on the side there. They've managed to cover off all the gaps using some of those angled pieces as well. So I think it's actually, you know, a nice looking model. But even this front end here, they've managed to you know, make it look quite nice. It would be very difficult to get those sorts of details, that shape there with the windows. Well, the spaces to represent the windows, of course, but I think they've done well. I think they've managed to make it look like a Boeing front end, and like I say, just not too many gaps. Unnecessary gaps. You know, all these gaps around the front there are meant to represent windows on the actual vehicle itself. Just coming through to the back end here, you can see again, you know, there's not too many gaps. They've managed to cover off a lot of the spaces there with those sort of angled pieces. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. It's a, like I say again, it's a very sturdy model. It's a nice looking thing, and there's a lot going on. It's quite a heavy thing. Someone mentioned in another review that it's quite rear heavy. Yes, it is. I'll just tip it back. It does have a tipping point. You know, it's not too bad to there, but if you sort of come back a little bit further, it will go onto its back end. But it's not too bad. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be after seeing somebody else's review on it. You can even see in that rear section of the plane there with the rear tailgates, they've managed to get a nice angle there going up. We'll get into the play functions in a second. That you'll see that rear tail splits and opens. It's actually quite a clever. It's quite well done actually. And of course you've got these monstrous propellers, these engines on each side. They are massive, you know, and they're pretty cool. Really well put together. They function well, they move well, but again, we'll come on to the play features in a second. The build wasn't overly difficult. You know, it's a Technic set. You have to really, for me anyway, I have to really concentrate with what I'm doing, otherwise I can make some serious mistakes. I didn't make any mistakes with this one. I even managed to do the fix on it as well as I was going through, but it took me roughly, probably about 3.5, maybe up to about 4 hours, but look, a nice build, easy to put together. I enjoyed it a lot. Especially given the size of it, you know, what we've ended up with is quite a substantial model there. The only part I can honestly say that I think could have been done slightly better, but you know how they would have done it, I'm not too sure. It's just this piece here. It's just a little bit flimsy, but other than that, the whole model is very sturdy, and you can even see the angle, the slight angle in those, and the way the wings come out there. You know, the way they've done that as well, it's all very sturdy to hold those massive engines on each side. So let's get into the play features. We'll start with the simple one, it's the one that's hasn't got a motor attached to it. There's a little lever here that operates that rear flap. You just push it and pull it, and that flap goes down and comes back up. Pretty simple, nice, clever, easy mechanism, easy to put together, but yeah, it works. Whether it needed to be there or not, I don't really know given the other play functions, but hey, it's a nice thing to have. Okay, so what you have is you have a big battery box sitting down here underneath, and then the motor sits on top of that. It's all sealed away. You have little external switches, which I'll go around now. So the first switch we have is, of course, the on and off for the power. So if I flick that on, you can hear she's not necessarily the quietest thing in the world, but that's how you turn the power on. Okay, so we'll start with the switches on this side. The top one rotates the propellers so they're facing forwards. We'll come on to that in a second, but the bottom one is the one where we'll start. We'll start with a ramp, which is the rear ramp, and it splits. So I'll just turn that on now. And now I'll hit that top switch and we will rotate the propellers forward. Fairly simple, but thought I'd show that as it is. Coming around to this side, we have the switches for the propellers themselves and the switch for the landing gear to retract the landing gear up. So we'll start with the propellers. I'll show you that. Fairly smooth. The thing wobbles around a little bit, but fairly smooth motion. Just flick the switch forward again to turn it off. So now we'll have a quick look at the landing gear. Now, as you could probably hear there was a little bit of clicking when you get to the end of whatever it's meant to be doing when the landing gear in that case got all the way up. It just sort of clicks a little bit before you chuck it into neutral. You've got to get it into neutral. Yeah, otherwise it starts clicking away. It does that with every function as well. So whether it's the engines coming forward, whether it's the rear gate, or whether it's the landing gear, it does it with everything. So like I was saying, the build itself was quite a good build. It was an enjoyable build. It wasn't too difficult to put together. You could see it coming together. I did the fix as I was going along. We'll come back to that in a second. Stickers, there's a few stickers, a couple on here that were just, you know, sort of rivets that I didn't think were necessary along the wings here, but you know, all the rest are sort of logos or things that you would find on prop engined aircraft, you know, the intakes and the danger signs, and of course there's stickers there to help you out with the motor functions as well. Just a quick demo there of the props in action. It's a cool model, you know. It'll be a cool thing for kids to play with. Unfortunately, with the price tag that these things command, I can't see any children getting their hands on them to play with anytime soon. Okay, so before we get to the conclusion, let's talk about the problem. Now, it's been well documented, and Huw from Brickset, who I will credit below, will put a link to the article specifically that I read that highlighted the problem and of course the fix. There's a set of gears or cogs inside the gearbox there that are taking too much of a load, and basically they get absolutely destroyed. Now the fix is fairly easy. It's a case of doubling up that set of gears, and there's space and room to do it, making a couple of minor changes. Access into the gearbox itself is fairly easy as well. As you can see, you can just pop out a couple of bits there and actually get into looking at it. I'm not going to take it apart and try and refix it. I fixed it as I was going along, but apparently it's not too difficult. So with the problems of the recall apparently being because it's a military vehicle, some would say the problems is because there is a fundamental flaw with the gearing in it itself and the load that it can take. So maybe that is the problem. So at the end of the day, as a model with the fix, it is very cool. For the money that it was commanding, it was 260 New Zealand dollars. I think about 130 Great British pounds. I'm not too sure the US dollars, to be honest. You know, it's a nice model for that. You know, you get some great functions. You get 4 different power functions. You get a fairly sizable model as well. It's a nice thing, but you know, if it came out in its standard form and those gears were just getting destroyed after, I think it was a few hours that people were finding the problems, then that would have been a major problem, and that would have caused a different type of recall, I guess, you know. So I don't know. As a model itself though, I do like it. I think it's a great looking thing. I'm happy I've got my hands on one. You know, would I have paid what they're commanding now? And they're commanding silly money now. No, I wouldn't pay that at all. I wouldn't pay that for it, and I wouldn't recommend anyone pays that for it neither. But it's a nice model. It is. It's a nice Technic model. It's well engineered to a point, of course. To a point, there is that major problem. But the amount of play features or power functions that they've got in there, I like it. I like it. It's a nice display piece as well. Hey, so thanks for watching this. If you do like our content, please consider subscribing, hit that like, all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.